Hello wonderful people, it's Wild here. In today's video I'll show you how to create over 5 styles of gazebo or pergola. By creating these outdoor structures in your build, it really makes a feature of your exterior space and is a great way of enhancing any garden or build landscape. The materials that you'll need for each of the designs will be in front of each tutorial, and there are timestamps so you can jump forward to the design you'd like. Keep in mind that you can always switch out blocks to get an endless number of designs. This cherry gazebo has a classic domed shape with archways. You can see it's illuminated with some frog lights and it has a really magical appearance. It would look great in a fairy or cottagecore style build. Here is the outline for our cherry blossom gazebo. We're going to start by going in with some pearlescent frog lights, and I'm placing these so they're 3 blocks apart and then on a diagonal 1 block apart. So this is going to form a circle. I'll then place a stripped cherry log on top of each of these. And then I'm going to use some of these diorite stairs and place them on the inside facing towards each other like this. I'll then use the plain diorite stairs to connect them up in the center. And then on each of the corners I'll place in a diorite slab. Next I'm going to go on with some cherry trapdoors, and I'll place these on the visible sides of the pearlescent frog lights. Of course, I'm not going to place them on the center because we'll be filling in a floor there. And now that that's done, we can add in the floor. So for this, I'm creating a checkerboard pattern, which means on every other block, I'll place in the polished diorite like this. And then I'll fill in the gaps in between with the regular diorite. So we're going in with the regular diorite, and you should find that the pattern will line up with the stairs and the slab as well. Just like that. Now we're going to start building up, so I'm going to place 2 cherry fences on top of each of these posts. And I'll be placing the archways on top of this. So let's start creating these archways now. So I'll have a cherry stair on top of here like that, and then I'll face them in towards each other upside down. On top of this, I'm going to add a cherry trapdoor as well as joining the 2, and then I can place a slab in the center to create the archway. So I'm going to create the same arch design on the other 3 sides of this gazebo. And then we can start filling in and joining up the archways on the corners. If you'd like to get some more cherry blossom as well as other 1.20 build ideas, make sure you check out my 120 1.20 build inspiration video, where we go over everything from furniture to exterior decor and even some fully fledged builds. Now for these corners, I'm going to grab some cherry trapdoors, and I'm just going to use another one to move it over to this corner. Of course, you could use a placeholder block like some leaves to place it in there, and then I'm going to place another one below it like this, so it's 2 layered. You'll find that if you place your first one here, when you go to place one below, it'll be floating, and in that case you can just place one on top instead. The idea here is we want to make the cherry trapdoor just look a little bit thicker and more robust to fit in with the rest of the outline we've got going on here. And of course you'll need to hold shift to click on the other trapdoors. Like that. Okay, now let's create the joins between these archways. I'm going to start by placing in some leaves. So I'll place leaves coming off of each of these trapdoors going around. Then I'll grab some cherry slabs and build 2 blocks back. And you can see I'm working from the center here, that way I'm making sure everything is even. Now you could add in a cherry trapdoor if you'd like here to build this next step, or you can remove it afterwards and use a placeholder block, as we're going to be covering it up like this with some slabs. And then I'm going to place a pearlescent frog light hanging in the center here with a block on top. Next, I'm going to go in with some more of these cherry trapdoors in the corners. And we're going to fill in with some leaves now, creating a little kind of W shape in the corner like this. Then I'll place in 2 more leaves on each of these sides, clicking on the stairs. I find it easy to do this working from the top of the build. And you can see that we filled in all of these spaces now. Now, if we come underneath, this is how it's looking. Now you can fill in these corners if you'd like with some more of the leaves. And then you can either leave these trapdoors here or you can surround the pearlescent frog light. That also looks really pretty, and I think I'm going to do that. I'll place 1 more there. And you can see that with the cherry blossom leaves making up the top of this gazebo, you get this beautiful falling petal effect underneath the roof. It really is magical. This jungle-style gazebo, with its leafy rooftop and pointed peak, looks great in a jungle or bamboo biome, and you can see I've set up a little table and chair setting underneath to take in the beautiful outdoors. Here is the outline for our bamboo gazebo. You can see it's basically a 9x9 square with the corners chopped off. I'm going to start by placing some stripped jungle logs in the kind of corner sections on the inside of this outline like this. I'm then going to fill in the rest of the interior of the outline with some jungle planks. Next, I'm going to go in with some stripped bamboo blocks like this, and I'll place them kind of 1 in diagonally from the jungle logs so that they're spaced 3 blocks apart. And then in all of the gaps, I'll go in with some bamboo mosaic stairs. Like that. I'm then going to place some bamboo mosaic on top of each of the stripped bamboo blocks. And I'll place a jungle button off of each of those. I've got some jungle slabs going on top of these logs here. And then some bamboo trapdoors going in front of the logs. I'm also going to place these trapdoors on the inside of the gazebo. So it should look like this for our base. I'm going to build up some bamboo fence posts 2 high on each of these bamboo mosaic blocks. And I'm going to use some placeholder blocks here, which I'm just building up 2 high behind them. That way it'll be a lot easier to place in our archways. Coming back outside the build now, I'm going to place in some stairs upside down like this. Then I'll wrap around the stairs on the 2 ends and join them up. I can then place in a bamboo trapdoor on either side and hang a jungle sign in the center. So I'm hanging it so it's got this kind of upside down V-shaped hanging like this. And to do this, I'm holding Shift. I'm going to create the same design on the other sides, and then we can connect them up. For our signs, you want to make sure you're facing straight on when you hang these signs, otherwise they'll end up on an angle. Alright, to join them up, I'm going to add on a placeholder block just on one of the sides here like this. That way I can place in a slab at the same level as these stairs. Once those are in, I'm going to switch to some more of these hanging jungle signs, and I'm going to hang them at an angle in the same way. You could also opt to decorate these signs with some designs using text, and then you could dye them green to match the colour scheme. I can then remove all of these placeholder blocks and we can take a look at the framing we've created. Now to create the top of this gazebo, we're going to start with the leaves first. I'll place them in a shape like this, a little W shape in each of the corners. When you look from above, it should look like this. We should also have a little gap in between each one. You can then use a placeholder block or just an extra leaf to move them up a layer, and we're going to create these little L designs to fill in the corner. This should leave you with an empty plus shape going through the center of the build. Now we're going to go in with some more bamboo. I'm going to come inside the build here and place in some stairs, clicking on the back leaf like this. And I'm just using the plain bamboo stairs here, not the mosaic ones. I'll then come out and place in some slabs. I'll place in a few more slabs going around here like this, as well as some fences. And in the center, I'll place in a plank with a fence on the top. This has created a lovely dome shape. Now you can illuminate this bamboo gazebo by hanging a lantern a chain length down in the center, and that looks great, but you could also pair this design with some bamboo tiki torches for a really tropical feel. If you're creating a Japanese style build, this 4-way torii gate like pergola is a really great way to make an entrance to your build or to make a feature of a garden space, and you can see it uses the cherry blossom as well as the nether brick. The base of this Japanese pagoda just has 4 points touching the ground, but these are spaced 3 blocks apart, and you can place in an outline to help you figure out where to put your build. I'm going to start by building up 2 high on each of the posts with some cherry logs, and then I'll surround them with some cherry trapdoors, just at the bottom like this. I'll also be placing buttons on all 4 sides of the top section of the log. Now the purple colour of the cherry wood bark goes really well with these nether bricks, so we're going to be placing 2 walls on top of each to complete this part of the post. I'm also going to be placing a cherry log on top of here. And now we can start creating these archways. I'm going to start by coming out at the bottom of each of these logs with a nether brick slab. It's kind of like a 4-way torii gate. Next, I'm going to be using a placeholder block, and I'm going to come out kind of on an L shape like this, so it's sitting 1 block out from the logs and in the center. I'll then place a cherry log off of this, so that way you can see the bark texture once we've removed these blocks, and it should be facing forward. I'll then go in with a nether brick slab on either side to connect everything up. Just like that. I'm going to place another slab on top of each of these logs now, and then I'm going to place a nether brick stair. Now you should be able to place them just by clicking directly on this slab, and it'll end up being a slab above the slab below. We can then come off of these the stairs with some more slabs. A lot of slabs and stairs to create this shape here. And we're now going to go in with some cherry trapdoors. I'll place these at the top like this, and then underneath. There's just one more detail to add, and that involves a whole load of buttons. I'm going to be placing them on top of these slabs going around the build, and you can see I'm rotating so that way they're always facing the same way. If I don't rotate, these buttons are going to be looking different. I'm also going to be placing buttons on these cherry logs, and it's these small details that really make a build look complete. And I'm placing them on the inside as well, so the inside looks just as awesome. Now you could also hang some lanterns here. This is a great place to hang them from, or you could combine this design with some Japanese style lanterns in the same block palette. This decorated pot gazebo would look great in a grand build or medieval area, and you can customize it by switching out the wood type to suit your build. Here is the outline for our decorated pot gazebo. We're going to start by going in with some granite, and I'm placing these in the corners. I'm using polished granite here. Then coming in from that, we're going to have some bricks and another polished granite block. This will leave us with a 3-block gap on each side. And in that gap, we're going to place in some polished granite stairs. Now I'm going to be using mangrove wood alongside the brick, the mud brick and the granite here to go with the decorated pots, but you could easily substitute out the mangrove with either jungle or acacia wood, and it looks just as awesome. All 3 of those woods go great with the colours in the decorated pot. Now you can see I placed a decorated pot on top of each of these bricks, and I've gone with the fire design, but you could use whatever design you have or like the best. Next, I'm going to be placing in some podzol, and I'm placing these in these 2 corners here, and I'll be planting some things in here later. This is going to be a super lush looking gazebo. Perfect. Next we've got some buttons, and these are going on the brick. I'm just making sure I place them on this face here. If I place them above the podzol, we won't be able to plant anything. And there we go. Next, let's fill in this whole area with some of the granite blocks. If you're in survival, a great material saving tip would be to use granite slabs instead and just place them at the top layer. You should have a base that's looking like this so far. Next, I'm going to go in with a placeholder block. I've got some red wool here, but dirt would work fine. I'm just placing these next to each of the decorated pots, and then I'm going to use it so I can place a mangrove trapdoor. This will mean that it's sitting on the block outside of the edge here, so you can place decorations inside. I can then go ahead and break all of these placeholder blocks. I'll also place a plain decorated pot in each of the corners. Now you could use a decorated one here, but since we've got decorated pots with designs on either side, I like to keep it simple. I'll then be placing some more mangrove trapdoors off of this pot. There we go, we've gone all the way around now. Next, on the decorated pots with our designs, I'm going to build up 2 high with some mud brick walls. Giving us the posts for our build. On top of these, I'll go in with some more of the plain decorated pots. We're just about ready to start creating our points. I'm going to be using mud brick stairs to create these gables. I'm going to zigzag my way up from each side, going in towards the center. Once I reach the center like this, I'll place in an upside down stair facing forward, one on top, and then one more upside down stair to create a little swoop. And I'll create this same shape on all of the other sides. By placing the stairs upside down, it gives it a more finished look. If you'd like to access world downloads, a Patreon server, exclusive videos, and custom build tutorials, make sure you check out my Patreon. I'd love to have you join my community, and your support would mean the absolute world to me. Okay, there we go, all of our gables are in, and we can start adding in the roofing. So for this, we're going to be using some brick. So I'm going to start each corner the same, placing in 2 brick stairs with a brick in the corner. For the next layer, I'll place in 4 brick stairs, 2 on each side, and a brick to join them. Then 3, and a brick, and we filled in that side. So all of the other corners are just the same, so we can go ahead and do that. Stairs can be a little bit tricky to place, so just be patient and work slowly around the build. Once you've got all 4 corners done, you want to build in from the top like this, and I'm just leaving out the center with the slabs so I can place a block there. So this is how it should look. Now we've got more of our mangrove wood, or if you're using jungle or acacia, you can use that. I'm going to be placing 5 long beams going across each of these gables like this. And then I'm going to fill in the points above them with some planks. I'll then come outside the build, and I'm going to be adding in a trapdoor in front of this central log. We've also got some stairs going in, and then I'll connect these stairs with some more of the trapdoors. A few more trapdoors going in here. I'm placing them on these bricks. And then I'm going to use that, I'll be holding crouch, to place in a mud brick slab. You can see this is sitting on the slab below where our stairs finish. Now we'll go in with some flower pots, and I'm placing them on top of these 2 trapdoors. And then I'll also be placing them inside these plain pots here. That means I can plant something in them. We've got our base structure down, but let's add the greenery, and I'll show you how to drape leaves down the roof. For the leaves, I'm using birch, but you could use any leaves you have. I'm just going to start by draping them down the corners. Now you'll notice when I go to place them on this part of the stair, it's going to jump up there, so it's just a little bit of trial and error draping them down the side until you get a look that you're happy with. I always like to have them come off at a bit of an angle like this to have a more natural appearance. You can also trail them along the side of the build like this, so that way they can drape off the end. And I'll have that drape around that way like that. And I think I might add in maybe an extra leaf coming along this way. Adding in the greenery to a build like this really does enhance it, and you can do this to any of the gazebo designs I've shown you. The number of leaves you add is entirely up to you. I'm just going to continue adding them until I'm happy with the finished look. I think I want to have these come along this way a little bit more, so I'm going to move my leaves around to accommodate for that. Once you've done adding in your leaves, it's always a good idea to go around your build and have a look at it from all the angles to make sure you're happy with how it looks. And now that I'm happy with that, I'm going to go and put some things in my pot plants. Now I've got a mixture of torch flowers, azaleas, some sweet berries and ferns, and I'm just going to add them here and there around the build. I'm going to be looking at the placement of the other flowers and making sure I don't have anything next to each other. So I might move this fern down here and take that fern out of there and put the azalea up there. And then I can move my fern over into this pot, and I think maybe I'll put an azalea down here. You can see how I'm going to play around with the location of things until I get the look I'm happy with. Take a step back and see where I've got things going on. So I can have a torch flower up here. I reckon an azalea over here. I'm thinking a fern and an azalea on this side. And we'll place a torch flower down there. Take a step back and look over here. I think we need maybe that up there and that over there. And I think that looks really good. I'm going to go and use some bone meal to grow these berries to their max growth. And you can use any florals you like, but I just like the way that the torch flowers go with the theme of this build. This cherry blossom pergola is a really lovely space to make a feature of your garden and have an outdoor seating area like this one. For this open pergola design, we've got our posts marked in here like this. You should have 8. They're spaced 3 apart here and then 1 apart on the diagonal. I'm going to start by building up 4 high on this post, 3 high with my stripped logs on the next one, 5 on the next one, 4 again, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 3 again. I'll then use some cherry fences and I'll add 2 on top of the 3 high, 1 on top of the 4 high, and none on top of the 5 high, so they're all a total of 5 blocks high. Like that. Now on all of our posts, I'm going to build up 2 high on all sides with some of these cherry trapdoors. I'm going to place all of my trapdoors in and then flip them afterwards. So you can see I'm holding shift so that way I can place the trapdoors on top of each other, or you can click on the actual log themselves, whatever system works best for you. All the way around, let's flip all of these trapdoors now. There is quite a few to flip. Just like this. Next I've got some cherry leaves and cherry slabs. I'm going to go around connecting up 5 high above each of the posts, and I've missed a fence there so I'm just adding it back in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see that's connected those 2 posts. 5 across here and 5 across there. Now I need to connect the corners, and to do this I'm just going to add in a little L shape like this. With all that in, I'll go around the inside edge with some of the slabs. And I'll do the same on the outside edge as well. You can see I'm not joining the corner like this, I'm just leaving it out and placing directly onto the cherry leaves. So from above, it should look like this. Now we're going to use some more leaves to really elevate this design, so I'm just going to add them on top of some of these spots around the build. And you can add them onto as many or as few spots as you like as you go around. And then I'm going to drape down some leaves down the side of the build, and some of these you can actually break the slab and have them come down that way. You can add as many or as little as you like here, we just want it to look super lush. You can see in the corners it's a great place to be able to go down, so I'm really going to play into that. I'm also going to be jumping around the build, breaking and changing until I get the leaves looking just how I want. I'm making sure to take a step back and make some adjustments as I go around. I think that looks good. And I'll also come inside here and do the same thing, adding in a few more leaves here and there. You just want to play around until you get a look that you're happy with. Always keep in mind though that you want the leaves to look connected. So don't just place them hanging off. If I place one here, it's not connected to the main ring of leaves, and so it wouldn't look quite so natural. Right, and let's see, I might place in one more leaf here, and a leaf draping down from that. And we'll take a step back. I think that looks pretty good. I might just remove that one there. Next, let's add in some lanterns. So I'm going to be placing these on each of the corners on the inside row of the slabs. Of course, I've got some leaves hanging down here, so I can either leave that one out or just move the leaves over if I want to hang a lantern there. And then I'm going to hang them in the center. And once I've got some leaves in these spots, so I might just move them over so I can illuminate my archways. Of course, you can't hang them from the leaves, so you might need to mess around with your design, but that's where the leaves really come into play. You've got to give it a natural look and just kind of mess around until you're happy with it and it works with the design. I might swing this leaf this way instead, and maybe I'll leave out these two here and have them come down this way. Like that. Taking a step back, that still looks fantastic, but I think I'll trim up that leaf there. Beautiful. Whenever you're working with a more natural shape like this one with the leaves, you got to keep in mind that every design is going to be a little bit different. So if your leaves are placed differently to mine, that's totally okay. You just want to make sure you're happy with the way it looks. All right, let's click our fingers and see what this looks like in bamboo. 3, 2, 1. And there we go in bamboo. Now for this one I've used jungle leaves and I've gone with the green bamboo for the posts. That just balances the build as we have the green of the leaves and then at the base. And it does look great in both color palettes. And by switching out the blocks for bamboo, you can give this build a really tropical feeling, and it is another great way of having a seating area in perhaps a desert or bamboo biome. So now you know how to build several designs of gazebos to use in your world. Be sure to comment which one is your favorite. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and subscribe, and check out my Patreon if you'd like to support me further. It would mean the world, and I'll see you in another video.